the phone.
All right, guys. We don't know what happened technically. We can't tell you what happened technically. But we back up. We back running again. We're trying to figure out what's going on. If you can hear us, please give us a thumbs up. We make sure that our volume is working right.
Ain't nobody logged back on right now.
Nobody logged in right now. So
all right,
there
JC,
we go.
you watching? Can you hear us
All
now?
right, can you hear us?
You trying to come back in? We gonna hit you right now.
Oh, they all back on, but I don't know how to get them in there. Hey, we working on it.
All right, we trying to get.
So who we trying to get?
Jay was the one going in. Approve.
Right here?
He said right there. Yeah, hit that one.
Okay.
Send in back.
Let's see if he come on.
Come on.
All right, JC, can you hear us now, brother?
Yeah, I can. Can y'all hear me?
Man, well, as soon as we put you in there, you freeze up.
Man, dog, you horrible. You the worst.
We not freezing up. You freezing up.
Yes, as you can see, we not freezing.
All right, go ahead.
Y'all, as soon as I say something, y'all gonna be talking about this freezing up.
Talking?
Yeah, I'm talking.
He froze up again.
He's saying something. He said, "What's going on?"
He talking, but
it's just low as hell. Yeah.
Speakerphone.
What?
It's on the phone.
It's on the phone.
Can we put it on speakerphone?
Go in there, yeah, and take it off of there.
Hold on, Ski.
Okay.
All right, we get you now. Go ahead.
Y'all can hear me.
We can hear you now.
But y'all froze up on my screen, so I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, so
y'all froze on.
Go ahead. Hold your head.
All right. So y'all screen was a little frozen, but I guess we all right now. So can y'all hear me? What the deal is?
I don't know if you can hear us, but we can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear y'all, but then y'all freeze up.
Well, you not freezing now.
Don't worry about the freeze up, just talk.
Huh? Just talk?
Don't worry about the freeze up part, just talk.
All right. So so y'all, what's this topic here? See, because y'all talking about a lot of things here. I'm trying to figure out exactly what y'all talking about. Because
we talked about a good man and what was the definition of a good man. And then it was like, women, you get a good man and you don't keep him. Why is it that?
How you losing?
How you end up losing a good man when you get him? You want one, you got him, and you lose. And vice versa. So then we switched up the topic and we went to men losing good women.
okay.
And not having the ability to go back to get the woman because you got too much pressure.
Well, again, y'all keep freezing up, but I'm gonna just talk. So sometimes, you know what I believe? I believe sometimes when you meet somebody, you are brought into people's lives for reasons, and that reason sometimes is to be there for the long haul. Sometimes that reason is to be there to teach you something.
Technical difficulty.
I think we
have technical difficulty.
I think we're gonna have to invite you here live in person.
Yeah, let you
sit down on the porch.
Yeah, on the porch.
All right.
Because I guess since we voices from the porch, and we ain't on your porch, and you ain't on our porch, so they don't want to hear your voice.
Ain't no porches hitting together, yeah.
All right, well, we're gonna try this another time then.
But it sounds like you got a lot to say.
I got a lot on my mind.
Hey, right now you ain't freezing, so go ahead on. Let's see what happens.
Now I say sometimes you are brought in people's lives for lessons. Sometimes God has a funny way of teaching you lessons, right? So sometimes you're brought into people's lives to show them what a good man looks like, what a man that can really care about them and don't worry about their past, don't worry about anything, and show them some genuine love. Sometimes that's what you're brought into people's lives for. And sometimes that you're brought into those lives and maybe they might fumble a little bit, but whatever. But then you got to learn a lesson from that. And the lesson for you might be you can't always share that genuine love and all that you and the lesson for them is that there are people out there that will do it. And both people learn a lesson. So I think sometimes that's what it is. Some relationships are just you're there for a season. It ain't gotta be somebody's wrong, somebody's right. It doesn't matter. Sometimes it is what it is, right? You learn. If you leave the relationship better than you were when you got there, then you learn something.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Once you get past all the mad and you upset and somebody did this wrong or somebody once you get past that, you just got to move on and try to learn from it so you don't keep repeating the same mistakes because you're going to keep getting the same outcome.
Absolutely. So I agree with Jay. What he said makes a lot of sense. What he said make a lot of sense was, people come into your life for a season. All right. And they also come in your life for some reasons. So you never know what they are. So you got to go back and always find the positive, right? We focus in on the negatives when things don't work out. And we forget that there was a positive that was taught to us or that we learned from that situation. I'm really big in saying, you know what? Even when somebody exit my life, it might have cost me something, but it didn't cost me as much as it could have. So I'm going to go ahead and take advantage of the fact that they're gone, and I'm not going to rest on all the negatives and say, you know what? Had it not been for that person, I wouldn't be X, Y, Z. Mm-hmm. It's like my ex-wife. I have nothing negative to say about her because she helped my growth. Because beforehand, before you get a real relationship, you haven't grown yet. Like I told you, a man is not a man until he's been hurt. Then he becomes a man. Because now you can understand and empathize with a woman that's been hurt. So once the hurt happens, then you were dealing with a real man.
Yeah, it's time to move forward. But here's got a question for you too, Jay. So when you get in that situation where and we know you personally, we know you're a good man, just like we said we are. When it gets to that point, where does it come to the point where you second guess yourself, if there's a such thing as second guessing yourself?
Well, I think you got to love yourself more than anything else. And when you stop loving yourself and you start getting too, you forget to love yourself and you get too caught up in the whole thing, and it's a lot of toxicity and it's just a lot of back and forth. You owe it to yourself to love yourself first, because if you can't take care of you, you can't be no good for anyone else.
Oh,
so
definitely.
I think at some point I think you should try, be accountable. I ain't never been in a relationship that somebody did all the wrong. Never. I brought my share of wrong. Now,
Yeah.
I ain't gonna cheat. That ain't my wrong. I'm not gonna be hanging out, and I don't do all that. That's not my wrong. But I have my faults, and so as long as you try to work through that, and if people are growing, even if it's growing slowly, if people are growing, you stick it out. But when the growing stops and it's just a lot of bad, then and it's starting to affect you health wise and mentally, it's time to take care of yourself. It's not even about leaving somebody, it's about getting yourself together. And if that means you have to move on, that's selfless. You're not doing it because you're trying to hurt somebody. You're saying, I got to get myself together because I ain't going to be no good to anybody at this point. So I think it's just a give and take. But like I said, I ain't never been in a relationship where the other person was 100% wrong. I've never been in that relationship. I brought my share of stuff with it. We all got stuff from the past, and you bring that stuff, and that's what it is. So like right now for me, I'm dealing with my stuff, and I refuse to until I get my stuff the way I needed to get it, and I start learning and growing. I refuse to get with somebody and go back through the same thing. It's not good for them, and it's not going to be good for me. So I'm going to take the time to get myself together, work on my things that I know I got to work on because you have to be honest with yourself. And so you know what? And then and maybe one day I'll meet somebody that felt the same way and they got their stuff together and we both got together and said, okay, we worked on ourselves. But until then, you know, you ain't gonna be no good for anybody.
Right, because you can't take your baggage and give it to somebody else.
No.
You know, so you already got 3 bags. They got 3 bags. You give them your 3. Now they got 6 bags. Now you ain't got none, but it's wearing them down. So in these relationships, we have to make sure we're not giving our baggage to one another, because that's gonna do what? Bring the whole relationship down. Everybody gotta secure their own bags. Don't dump your bags on her. She don't dump your bags on you, and that way everybody's still a little light on the feet, as they say. You know, so you said what I said.
But you got to get help. See, the thing, I'm gonna tell you the real problem here. The real problem is that, especially black men, and I'm talking about men right now. When is the last time for a black man to go to counseling? That's like a taboo. It's like going to doctor. I get 3 physicals a year, but I ain't always done that, right? So, but mentally, you know, black men need to sit down and talk they stuff through too. And sometimes you can't talk that through with other people just because they're your boys, because they don't get it. They can't they don't get it. You can't talk it through with them. Sometimes you have to go and really figure out what's going on from your past that's really got. And we don't sometimes see it. We think we are right. See, men, we think we are right. We good. But that mental, after a while, that stuff beats you down, and you got to work on that because you don't want to bring that to somebody else, and now you jacking somebody. Man, you can beat it when you meet somebody. But if you already broke down,
do you think?
go ahead.
So do you think that? Do you think that has a lot to do with how long you stay with a woman far as a good man compared to how long she stayed with you as a good woman? You think that has a lot to do with it has to do with you building your character up by making sure you add in and that to their situation?
Well, it's funny when you say a good man, based on who gave you that title? You?
You gave yourself that title. You know
Well,
how that goes.
Well, you know, yeah, okay, okay, but to answer
Self-entitlement.
yeah, but yeah, okay. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that would beg to differ with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but anyway, to answer your question, I don't even remember your question because I got caught up in your good man thing. I was like, what was your question, Danny?
I said, do you think that what you just said a few minutes ago has a lot to do with the perspective of being a good man for a good woman? Like you said, you got to get yourself together. But a lot of men don't have themselves together, but they think they're good men. And like you say, because they're not going and making sure everything is good with them, everything is right with them, but they just feel like, you know what, I do this, I'm thinking good, but it's certain things that we're not doing as men that women are expecting, and vice versa. It's things that women are not doing that men are expecting. So what I was asking is, do you feel like you said, until you find yourself, do you think that has a lot to do with why good men are saying they're good men and they're losing good women, because they haven't found themselves yet?
Yeah, I definitely think that. I think a lot of times you got stuff that you really you think it's good, you think it's all right, but you know, and again, you gotta be willing to do that. Like I said, You gotta be willing. And I'm not saying nobody's gonna be perfect. I'm not saying that, but you gotta know yourself, and you gotta be honest with yourself. So I can be honest with myself, and I can tell you right now, I, I am, I got some stuff I gotta work on. Now that had nothing to do with whether or not I don't have to work on those things to be in a relationship. I gotta work on those things because they need to be worked on.
Yeah.
It ain't about a relationship. I got to work on those things to be a better person, not a better person for somebody, just a better person for me. And I got to get past some things, and I just got to, some things, just past stuff. But once you get that together, then, and like I said, then you got to meet somebody and understand that, they got to be willing to work on themselves, or they have to have worked on themselves. And then you guys get together. And sometimes you can march forward doing that, but to bring two damaging personalities together
It's disastrous.
Yeah, it really is, because you wonder why she doing this, and she wonder why he doing this, and she feel like I'm being disrespected, and he feels like I'm being disrespected, and everybody now it's just bickering, and sometimes it's just you don't understand yourself, like. Kind of hard to explain, but it takes some.
You explained it perfectly. Yeah.
It takes some accountability. You just got to be accountable.
Yeah.
You
accountability has to be some part with you, some part with that person. But whatever your part of that accountability is, you take, and that's what you got to work on. And that's what you
can do. And you can do it while you're in a relationship. You can. But if you find yourself not in a relationship, that is the perfect time to get it together before you try to get back into another.
In a relationship, but without a relationship, it's much easier to handle. But if you want to hold on, like what we're talking about now, the subject is good man, good woman. If you want to hold on to that person, you deal with it while you're inside the relationship.
Yeah. I think. Listen, I'm gonna tell you right now. I can only give you advice about getting yourself together. I can't give you advice about relationships because I ain't been very good at them. So I'm not on here trying to give anybody relationship advice because I'm the wrong person to be giving you relationship advice. But I can tell you.
But that point that you just made, Jay, was telling somebody how to get themselves together.
Yeah.
And that's a very key element to successful relationships. When people start having that disagreement, that conflict, anything that's not going the right way for the relationship, because we need to look in the mirror. Yeah. And we probably need to get each other. I need to get myself together. You need to get yourself together. Then we can move forward. Because that's like a big challenge.
Yeah, because if you're having financial issues in your relationship, they didn't just start once you got in a relationship.
Exactly. They were before then.
They was before then. So you should be getting that together while you're not in a relationship. So when you get in a relationship, because they, I heard somebody say, when a woman has got when a woman's kind of going off on you about something, the thing the thing she's talking about or what she's going off on you about is rarely what's the problem. That ain't normally the problem. Yeah. It really ain't. And it's normally something else. That's just something, and again, that's why we be like, what do you mean? I did do that. Or I did do this. Because you think that's what it's about. But sometimes it's bigger than that. And sometimes you gotta be able to do that. Now I believe in sticking it out. I believe in sticking in there and sticking it out and sticking in there and sticking out. But when it starts to cause mental damage, it is time to get yourself together, and sometimes you gotta go. And I know sometimes it hurts. I know sometimes it's painful, but sometimes you gotta go and get yourself together because you are causing mental health is serious out here, and you're causing some serious damage, and you're not gonna be no good to anyone. You're not gonna be good to them for them, and you're not gonna be good to somebody else. So, sometimes you gotta go, and sometimes you gotta love people from afar, man. You do. You gotta love people from afar sometime, and get yourself together and give them the chance to grow too.
So I think we had a few people join us, so I kind of want to let them kind of touch base and let them know what the topic is right now. We're talking about, being a good man in a relationship and what it entails, as well as being a good woman in a relationship and what it entails. And one of the key things that Jay talked about was getting yourself together before you can move forward in that relationship. And that's on the male side as well as the female side, because you're going in there with baggage, right? And if you're going to dump your baggage on that next person, that next person going to be a little heavy. So it's like if you go to the weight room, you go to the gym, and you get that little 5-pound dumbbell, and you put that in your hand. You take another 10-pound dumbbell, and you put that in your hand. So all you're doing is increasing the weight, and it gets harder to move in an effective manner when that starts to happen. So once you get yourself together, you're coming in there with a clean slate. She got herself together. You're coming in with a clean slate. Now we can use the communication that's going to enhance the cooperation while we're not arguing and having that conflict.
Hey, Tony, you done been on a plane before, and they giving you the instructions on the plane, and they say, all right, if we got any problems, and if the mask come down, put your mask on first.
Absolutely.
Because you can't help nobody if you choking and you can't breathe.
100%.
It's the same way in a relationship. You got to get yourself together, and you got to come into it, because it's not going to be easy. And here's the thing, man. Women, and this is not a sexist, women are more emotional, right? They're more emotional. Men, we're more logical.
Yes.
Okay. Well, if we know that, so you know that, Danny, Tony, you know that. Well, if you know that, then when they start being emotional, why you got a problem? That's what they do. That's how they communicate. And sometimes you just gotta let them do that. Meaning, because you know how when a woman, I will give this advice. This is not relationship advice, but I'm gonna tell you something. The next time you get into a fight with your woman, this is for men. Just instead of fighting back, grab her, hug her, tell her, I love you, baby. I love you. I love you. Let's give her some love at that moment. You don't want to give her more masculinity because she communicates differently. Sometimes you grab her and hug her and say, let's stop doing this. Let's just, I'm telling you, that'll put a fire out a lot quicker than egging it on, trying to come back, trying to prove your point, trying to make your point. All you're doing is throwing fire in there, and you're trying to communicate to her like she is a man, because you're trying to get her to understand your logic, and that's not how she communicates. How about you reach her the way she communicates, which is emotion and love. And because that's really, at the end of the day, that's what she wants.
Exactly.
She wants to feel loved. She wants to feel safe. She wants to feel protected. She wants to feel assured. And that ain't always through money. Sometimes it's just your time. Sometimes it's your words. And we don't communicate that way. So we like, why are you messing with me? You don't get that. You know, that's where we want to go. We want to go there.
Right.
And all she wants is she just wants what she wants. And I'm just telling you, if we did that more, see, I learned. See, because I've been studying. I put it this way: my next relationship, I'm gonna be a lot better man than I was in my last relationship. I can promise you that, because I'm working on myself, and in the process of doing that, I'm just gonna be. I think I'm gonna be a better man. I ain't saying I'm gonna be a perfect man, but I will be better than I was before, and maybe one of these times I'll get it right.
Yeah, you're gonna get it right. But T Money got a little something for you. What do you say?
No, everybody's pretty much agreeing with him, and they've been pretty much telling you to preach on, because you're hitting a lot of good points. You know, when you're especially when you're telling people to get themselves together. You know, that's what everybody been commenting on. You know, you talk about get yourself together, and the reason why you're in that relationship, the decision that you're making in that relationship. So all those are all good points from everybody, and we see that everybody's chiming in. I know I didn't want to interrupt J Ski with with his topic because he was really giving us some good insights to about yourself. It wasn't about the relationship. It was about first take care of yourself first. Just like that plane says, put your mask on first before you assist anybody else. So what he was talking about in the relationship was first fix yourself. Then you can work on the relationship. And if everybody take that self approach, fix myself first, then we can work on our relationship. Because now you're able to communicate on a different level. That's all we're talking about.
And Lo just said something. Lo said, put God first. Well, listen, that goes without saying.
Yes, sir.
And I'm gonna tell you, that don't happen enough. You know, you want to drive. Well, guess what? He don't let you drive. He'll be in his car with you, and he right next to you, but he don't let you drive. And when you pass the road, he know what road you should turn on. But you want to drive, he gonna sit there and be, okay. He know he should have turned right there, but no, you got it, and you gonna go all the way around just to come back. So the whole point is, Lo, I agree with you. Got to put God first in relationship, in finances, in health, in anything. That just goes without saying.
Yes, sir.
That's a given, but I guess it isn't a given for a lot of people. But you got to get yourself together first, because what we are doing is we are see, a lot of women, because of a lot of reasons, a lot of women have been single a lot, and they've raising kids, and they've had to be the man.
Mom and dad.
Yeah.
They had to.
You're right.
So now when they get with the man, you have to be patient, because you're gonna get it. They're still bringing that masculine energy, because that's what they had to do. And for us, it's like, wait a minute, I want you to be a woman, and that's where the patience comes in, and that's what I've learned. Sometimes you got to be patient, and you got to understand that this woman has had to be mom and dad. So she get with you, she's used to doing that. It's like us. It's like me. I've cooked for myself so long, I cleaned for myself so long, that in my last relationship, I still want to do all that. And I didn't realize that I was actually not allowing that woman to be what she wanted to be. I was acting like a woman because I wanted to do it, but I was used to doing it. And that's the same thing with a woman when they get with a man. Women, ladies out there, I know you're used to doing it, and you've always had to do it. But when you get with a man that wants to be that man, you got to let him do it. You got to let him do it. You got to let him do it. I know it's hard. I know you've been used to doing it. You've been doing it for so long, and you've been doing it. I get it. But you got to let that man be a man. And men, we got to let the women be women, and love them how they want to, love them like they want to be loved, and communicate how they want to be. Because other than that, all you're doing is forcing them to have to be masculine. You're forcing them to be masculine. Then you wonder why they so masculine, and we call it you disrespecting me. No, you are not doing your part, and so she gonna do it, and you don't like that. That's like two men being in a relationship. You don't like that, but you not doing your part. If you're not financially doing your part, and now she got to do it, guess what? That's masculine energy she has to have.
Yes.
You gonna get it. You gonna feel that.
And I was
And
just
she gonna talk to you the same way, like she got to go get that money.
right. I was just reading something, or I saw it on social media or somewhere, and they was talking about the mindset of these women nowadays. Their energy is now about getting money.
Yes. Period.
That's their energy now. It's all about getting money. They don't have time for you to try to small talk with them, to get to know them. It's all about they financial resources. All right. What are you bringing to this table here? You're taking up my time when I could be out here, hustling and getting me some money. What are you going to give me for my time?
Yes.
It's kind of like when you start looking at those the little things, the little skits they got on social media nowadays about the gold diggers. Until they see what you're bringing to the table, they don't have time for you. When they see what you're bringing to the table, now they got time for you. But that's the energy that's being given nowadays from men to women. So let's talk about that. How can we as men change that energy? that we're giving off and make that narrative more about us, less about what he can do for you. What can we do for each other? You got something you want to add to that?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I got daughters, so I don't want I want my daughter to be with somebody that can take care of them. Not that they have to take care of them, but they gotta be able to. If somebody can't do something, so I ain't mad at a woman that wants somebody that wants somebody to have. I ain't mad at that. I ain't mad at that. I mean, it goes
No,
back. It
wrong
goes back
with
to what I
that.
said, D Money. It goes back to what I said. Get yourself together. Let me ask you something. Do you think you need to be financially stable? Do you think you should have that together? She shouldn't have to tell you to get
No,
together.
you're right.
If she got to tell you to get together, that's a problem.
Yes. If she
You don't want to hear.
got
You
one,
don't want to hear from her. But guess what? You should have it together anyway.
yeah.
Get yourself together. Get your how y'all. You can't get your credit together. I mean, get yourself together. And before you go jumping in a relationship, get your stuff together.
Right. And that goes back to what you were saying earlier. If you work on yourself, right? And I always felt like, I got married and I had my house for 5 years before I got married because I wanted to provide us some stability in our relationship. And I think that's what men need to get back to, the old school values of providing that stability. Because if you can't provide that stability for a woman, excuse me, what are you providing? Because our role is of a provider. If we can't provide, what are we bringing to the table? We're not bringing those conversations to the table that women deeply need because we're not as emotionally invested like they are. So if we're not going to bring the finances, what are we going to bring?
And if you're not going to bring the finances, who's going to bring them? Now she's going to do it, and you're going to receive a little bit different energy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Diamond came on and she left a comment. I don't know if you saw on there. She said, "Unified growth." Just kind of narrow down what she said in her comment. Unified growth is going to be what takes you to the next level. So I 100% agree with that. Unified growth, that means both of y'all are growing at the same time. Both of y'all came into it, but then you get to a certain situation. Now the unification is what takes you to the next level. That's what puts you over the top. So once you go over the top, it's hard for anybody to bring y'all down. Like you just said, Jay, once you got yourself together, they got themselves together, and you do a unified growth like she just said, what can bring you down from a unified growth? Please tell me that. Can anything bring
And not even together, D. Because as you're talking, I'm thinking, am I being fair by saying have yourself together? Because growth is lifetime. But you got to at least have yourself on the right track.
Yes.
You need to be moving in the right direction. How about that? You know what? Because we're going to continue to grow. But at least be moving in the right direction. Put it this way. If your credit score 500, there's probably a lot of things you need to be worried about more than just being in a relationship.
Yeah.
That's just being real. And I'm not saying you can't. Now, if you're in a relationship and through situations your credit drops, I get that. I'm not saying leave the relationship and go get your credit right. No. But I'm saying you should want to come into a relationship with some momentum. Let me just say that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
With some momentum. That's what you should want to come into a relationship with. And I'm gonna tell you, a lot of women that have these boys. Now this gonna get deep. A lot of women that got these boys, you take care of those boys. They got Jordans, they got everything they want. They don't need for nothing, and they are not learning how to be a provider because you are providing for them so much. They got everything. They don't need to do nothing. You just give them everything, and then when they turn 18 and they go out here and get with a woman, guess what? You let them play video games so they want to keep playing them. You let them sit around and don't do nothing. They didn't have to work when they was with you. They didn't have to do this. So guess what? Now we sent now they're being sent out into the world, and guess what? They
They're
don't know
not
how to do
ready.
none of that stuff.
They're not ready.
They don't
So
know
I
how to
think
do none of, they don't know how to do none of that stuff. They're like, what you talking about? I want to play video games.
Yep.
I
They
just
just
want to
want
chill.
to.
I think them old school values are needed back, because those old school values taught you how to get out here and provide, to get out here and grind,
Right.
cut that grass. I mean, all those little things helped mold us into the men we are today.
Yes.
And I think we're losing that because the video games are taking over. So the communication parts in relationships are lacking. The providing is lacking. So now the women feel like, okay, if he ain't gonna bring that to the table, let me get out here and let me go ahead and hustle. And then now you got that friction going on where the roles are kind of conflicted. The male role and the female role is kind of cloudy now, because the man done slacked on his part. So she felt like she had to do it. So we got to get back to the man things. You know, I don't care if people get mad at you when you talk about taking out the garbage. I still think that's a man's responsibility.
Yes.
You know, why should she have to take out the garbage?
Washing the cars.
Washing cars, that's still for a man.
Cut the yard.
You know, cut the grass.
Yeah.
You know, the manly things. You lose sight of those. Something break in the house and she got to be the one repaired. What she needs you for?
Exactly.
You know,
useless.
So those roles have become cloudy. So, and that also affects the relationship, because we don't have defined roles anymore. If we don't have defined roles, the relationship is going to suffer
all day.
Because who gonna do what?
And that's why you get and that's why you get all that masculine energy from these women. I'm telling you, you're getting it because they're forced to do it. So you're gonna get that. You still want to be a man, but you ain't. You know, you actually are not showing masculine energy. That's that feminine energy. You're not. You're doing the opposite. I'm telling you, and that's why you're getting what you're getting. So get yourself together. Get yourself together. Get yourself together. What's some other comments? I know we've been on here for a second.
Yeah. Lo say, daddies do it too. Stop handicapping these kids. Push them off the porch.
Oh yeah, because we become a crutch for our kids, and I get it.
I feel like that's a personal hit, Danny.
Yeah.
I think parents do kind of. You love your kids, and I'm the last person to knock that. But somewhere along the line, you have to let them grow up. Because if you don't let them grow up, what happens if something happens to you?
Yeah.
And you've been crutching them all this time. How are they gonna survive out here in this cruel world we live in?
You're not.
So we got to make sure that we've given them the tools they need to be successful without us. And that goes for the moms holding on to your kids too long. And as they say, you still breastfeeding them at 40.
Take the nipple out the mouth.
Take it out the mouth. Don't breastfeed them no more. You got to let them go out there and learn how to go fishing for themselves, hunt for their own food, let them eat what they catch.
Eat what they kill.
So if you're going to keep feeding them, they come to your house every Sunday and they're eating. They go there on Monday, they eating. They get there on Tuesday, they eating. Guess what they're going to do? They ain't going to never cook. They're going to keep running to mama's house. So mama got her role. Dad, if you don't push them off the porch and let them grow up and be men, your men going to be what? Codependent on somebody for the rest of their life. Mm-hmm. So we sending out mixed messages, and that's why the roles are so conflicted.
Yeah. So hey guys, listen. That was a great episode of Voices from the Porch. Thank you, Jay Ski, for coming on. Man, look at here. You brought so much perspective to this show tonight that there's no way for us to thank you for that. Thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for all that you've accomplished. You know, you're a very successful person, very successful music producer, artist, whatever title you got, you deserve every bit of it. Public speaker. Man,
terrible at relationships. Terrible.
So guys, if you have a chance,
now you know what you got to work on.
If you see or hear anything by this young man, please join it. He is one powerful person. He's very influential in the community. He is very, very fluent in what he says. He's positive in what he do. Man, thank you, Jay. You can't understand that. So, guys, listen up. Listen. We let you voice your opinions on Voices for the Porches. So it's real talk, real talk, voice on the porches. Let's talk about it, guys. Tune in next week. Peace.